356, Enterprise Application Development. So in this session, two goals. I want to introduce the course, what is expected of you. And then I have to quickly jump and introduce the topic for the lab. So the challenge is we need to be always ahead of the lab. So when you go to the lab, you already have what is needed to follow. So I'll be a bit quick because you have a lab today and then you need to be ready for it. So I need to go through this a bit quicker so I can get a bit of time to spend on the HTML, which is the first topic in this course. So let's spend a little bit of time on the title of the course. So there is software development, which you kind of already have an idea what it is. You experienced it. Now, what is different is the second part of the title, software development of enterprise application. So what is this idea of enterprise application? Anyone tell us what is an enterprise application? Okay, so we know this little calculator here. Is this an enterprise application? I can use it doing calculations, whatever. Is this an enterprise application? This is definitely an application. It's a software application, but is it an enterprise application? So why this is not an enterprise application? Okay, yes, good point. So usually enterprise application has some kind of database in the back end where data gets stored. Yeah, could be. In most cases, yes, you're right. What else? In this small calculator, how many users can use it at one time? Only one. Okay. Now, enterprise application, on the other hand, usually how many users can use it at the same time? Hundreds, thousands, millions, billions. That's what an enterprise application is. It has multiple concurrent users. So all the applications, the toy Mickey Mouse little applications you have been building, they are not enterprise applications. They are only simple desktop small applications. This course is all about enterprise applications. One of their characteristics is multiple concurrent users. Something similar to examples of enterprise applications that you use every day. Sorry? Facebook, or this big example, yes. Maybe Banner, Blackboard, or something like that. QNB banking. So all those are enterprise applications. Okay? Now, let's say if this calculator does not work, this little calculator does not work, is it a big problem? Not really. If Banner does not work, big problem. If QNB banking is down, big problem. Okay? Because this application helps the business achieve its goals. Without those applications, no business. What we call that application, enterprise application. Very important to be always reliable, available, and also these applications need to have a good response time. Users don't have a lot of patience, especially for commercial applications. Usually an enterprise or a company, they are not the only company out there. If the website is not responsive, if people request and they have to wait for a few minutes, they will not come back. Okay? So that's what characterizes an enterprise application. So just to summarize, they have multiple concurrent users. They are very business critical. If they are down, the business will be heavily affected. Okay, I'm sure you have heard stories. 1 hour downtime could cost millions, if not billions. Not only that, the image of the organization will be affected and so on. Media will be talking about it and so on. Imagine Al Jazeera is down for 1 hour. Big problem. Okay, whole country. Not, it could be even the whole world. So that's what an enterprise application. For desktop applications, usually one user, not business critical. Who cares? We can wait if it's not very fast. But enterprise applications are different. So that's why you need a course on this. You need some skills to build such applications. You need some architectures, some best practices. It's not that as easy as you've seen in previous software development that you have seen. Okay? So this is why this course is very, very important. Most students, when they graduate or in their senior project, they use the skills they acquire from this course. In the internship, in the professional life, very important course. So that's the idea of the title. Is it clear? Any question on this? Very good. All right. So now I will give a bit more details what the course is all about, and then how the grading will be and some policies for you to successfully go through this course. So here's my office. It's just downstairs, office 123, sorry, 132. And then these are the office hours for now, 9 to 10, but also available upon request, preferably on Sundays and Tuesdays before 2. Okay. By email, you will always get response, especially on Sundays and Tuesdays. I will always respond. Okay. Now, this is the goal of the course. So by going through this course, this is what you will get at your hand when you finish. So you will get an idea about the principles and the technologies to build such enterprise applications. And usually, by the way, such enterprise applications are typically web-based. That's why we will focus on web-based, large-scale enterprise applications. So you will get some principles. Then you will do some design and development and testing of such applications using client-side and server-side technologies. Now, the story now is starting. So you can see these enterprise applications, they are not made up as one piece. There are multiple pieces. As we move forward, you will see this. But for now, when you go to something like, let's say, Blackboard, as an example. So you go to a URL, you type the URL, and what you see when you go to the URL, or you go to the Blackboard. What do you get? Sorry? You get the interface. Thank you very much. You get the interface, which is made up of. No, that is the login screen. So what is the technology used to show you that interface you see on the browser? Sorry? I heard some. Yes, we will see all of this. But, oh, sorry, I forgot. Day one, forgot my markers. All right. Okay, so basically, in an enterprise application, typically, the minimum architecture you have some code that run on the client, which is in our case, in this scenario we're discussing, is the browser. So there is a client side, and there is a server side. This is the minimum. And on the server side, you might have multiple components distributed across multiple machines. So don't imagine something like Google or Facebook run on one server, or is running on one server as one piece. It is impossible to handle that many thousands or even millions of concurrent users. So typically, it is distributed across multiple machines. Anyway, let's keep it simple. So let's just say we have the client and we have the server. So when you go to something like Blackboard, what you see is the client side, which is nothing but a set of HTML pages. So you will see some HTML pages that have some code on the client side running using HTML and JavaScript and other stuff. And then most of the functionality is on the server side, where the actual computation takes place, where reading and writing data takes place. So when you go and say, give me my transcript, so basically on the server side, there is some code that goes to some database and say, get the transcript of student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get the transcript, and then it gets transferred to the client, and you see it as an HTML page. So in web development or enterprise web application development, the challenge is there isn't only one technology you need to learn. There are it's like a soup with a lot of ingredients. And you need to learn all those ingredients. You cannot say, I just learn one and it's enough for me to do by. No, multiple. So you will learn multiple technologies to do client-side and server-side development. All right, and here we will not talk in this course about anything history. This is the latest stuff, the most advanced, state-of-the-art, the latest way of doing it. Okay, so this course, every offering, it gets changed to the latest offering. This area is very, very dynamic, very, very dynamic. So you get the foundation, and then using that foundation, you will learn as you go. Okay, so here from day one, I'm telling you, this is a hands-on course. If you think this course is just you listen and you go and read some slides and you will do fine, you will not. This is a hands-on course. You need to build your skills as we go, and the course is now structured in a way to help you do that. You need to work continuously in this course for you to do well. This course is not scary. You can do it. Other students did it. They got A's and B pluses and everything. And some other students, they just get lost, very lost along the way. So if you are not following and doing the work as you go, you will be quickly lost. That's the message I'm telling you. So you can do it, but you have to work continuously, because it's like a chain. You build in skills gradually. And luckily now we have the lab. Before we didn't have a lab in this course. Now we have a lab, so you will be able to benefit from this lab. And by the way, for the lab, it's a different kind of lab. It's not a lab you go and just enjoy time. You go and work. At the end of the lab, you will get graded, and you move on. So every lab is graded, okay? So I will explain the grading shortly. So here, it's learning by doing. Even in the class, I will give you some principles, and then I'll jump and do some demos and show you how it is done. So that's what the kind of the philosophy of the course. Okay, why this is important? Because when you go out there, it's all about enterprise applications that help businesses achieve their goals. And as I said, you need to build such applications to be scalable, to handle multiple users, and to be always available, and to have good response time. And to achieve all of this, you need a lot of skills, and you need to follow some best practices to get you these qualities. These qualities do not come by themselves. Okay? So that's why this course is very important, and I will try to bring some students who took this course and they are now working just to tell you how important is this course. Okay? Even you can talk to your senior project students. Many of them are using many of the skills that they learn from this course. Okay, so enough marketing. Let's now get to it. This stuff might not make too much sense at this stage, but it will make full sense as we move forward. So in the week 1 or 2, you will start using, learning about HTML and CSS. This is the technology we use to create the web pages you are using every day. This mainly you will learn in the lab. So remember, we have to be always ahead of the lab. So to be able to be ahead of the lab, the lab instructors will cover this in more details. I will just give you a small glimpse in the lecture, and when we go straight into, from next week, go straight to JavaScript. Now, the core of this course, the core, is JavaScript. If you learn JavaScript, it's almost number one language out there, widely used, very, very widely used. And the good news, you can use it on the client side and on the server side. The same skills. You can use the same skills to do both the client side and the server side. So we will learn JavaScript. We will spend considerable time on JavaScript. Okay, and then we will see, somebody told me enterprise application have a database. Yes, 99.9% of them have a database to read and write data. And we will see how to do so using a database that you maybe most likely you have not seen before. It's called MongoDB. And then in JavaScript, there are a lot of pre-built libraries, pre-built frameworks that help you do things faster and more professional. So we will learn one that is developed by Google. It's called Angular 2. This is later on, once you get the basics of JavaScript. Then, towards the end, because you already know Java, which has nothing to do with JavaScript, by the way. Java is one thing, JavaScript is something very different. But still, since you already know Java, I want you to see how you can use Java to build web applications on the server side. Now, Java, yes, it is still popular, but JavaScript is taking over in both the client side and the server side. In the past, we used to have JavaScript on the client side and Java or C# or .NET on the server side. These days, we have JavaScript on both sides. But still, since you already know Java, I want you to also know how to do server-side web development using Java. Okay? And then here, because these applications, web applications or enterprise web applications are very important, the bad guys will try to attack them and put them down and basically embarrass the organization and the developers. So we will spend some time learning what are the common vulnerabilities and the common attacks that web applications can suffer from. So you are aware of these. So when you build applications, you don't make such mistakes that opens the doors to attackers. Okay? That's basically what the course is all about. You can see here a lot of it. From here to here, which is maybe 80% JavaScript. So JavaScript is very important language that you will learn in this course. This is the textbook that we will be using, plus some lot of online material that I will be providing you. Here is how the grading will be done. So you will have lab activities. So you will go to the lab. You will actually do the lab. You work on the lab. When you finish, the lab instructor will visit you, see what you have done, and give you a grade immediately. And you submit your submission. If in case, let's say, majority of students, for some reason, they did not finish, they might be given until, let's say, midnight or something to finish, and then they submit and get graded. Every lab is graded. Okay? So maybe we'll have maybe 13 labs because we have 15 weeks. 2 weeks might go into exams, the midterm and the final. And so might be left with 13 weeks. So we'll have 13 grades, 13 labs graded. Top 10 will be considered. Okay? Or if somebody missed a lab for some reason, there's no makeup, nothing. 3 labs will be auto-dropped, and the top 10 will be considered. Okay, project, you will have a project also. So lab activities will focus on one individual skill at a time. Let's say HTML, then CSS, then JavaScript, individual skills. And then the project comes and puts those individual skills and you apply them to a little bit larger problem. And here, to avoid surprises, we don't do project at the end. As you go, you have 3 phases. So in phase 1, you do it, you build the application, then you enhance it using a better way of doing it. Then you will connect it with a database. Okay, something like this. So 30%. And then the midterm. Theory, very small, 8%. And the practical is 12. Now, if you do your lab, and you do this yourself, and you contribute to the project, this one is piece of cake. You can do it, no problem. This one is guaranteed. In fact, whoever did not do well in this, it means they did not contribute. It means they have not been doing this. Okay? We might come up with a policy that the grade could be revised in here, because it does not make sense. Because this will be simpler than this and simpler than the lab. Because you have a limited time. Here, to be honest, if there is no cheating and everybody does their work, this is not really needed. This is really needed only to pick up, we don't have them here, to pick up some students that don't contribute. But if you contribute and you do your lab every week, and of course put some effort in at home, then this should be okay. Okay? That's basically how the grading will be done. So to succeed in this course, as I said, you have to work as we go. Do the reading I provide, do the practice in the lab, further practice using the examples I provide, further practice using examples from the textbook, and so on. So the more you exercise, the more you practice, the better you become. So I really, really highly recommend not to miss any class, not to miss any lab, because most of the, if you do that, then it should be fine. You will not have problem. But if you miss classes or labs, you will have gaps. It will be very hard for you to catch up. Okay. Just to remind you, do everything yourself. It's very easy for us to find if some students don't do it themselves or copy from others. This will be taken very seriously. Okay, if you have problems, you are lost, you don't understand what's going on, don't say, okay, I will find out later. There's no later. Immediately try to seek help. Ask in class, ask in the lab, come to office hours, ask for an extra meeting, do something about it. Don't just say, okay, I will understand later. There's no later. As you go, make sure there's no gap in the understanding. You can do it, and I'm sure you will also enjoy it. So here is the very famous saying. It's like the programming is like swimming. Okay? If you want to learn how to swim, if you can take all the books about swimming and you pile them to the roof and you read them, or you even memorize them all, and then you go and jump in the water, you will be able to swim? No way. Hopefully somebody will be there to save that person. Okay? So you have to do it. There's no other way. So luckily we have the lab, and then you have extra practice on your own at home, on your labs and on your project. Okay, lot of software we will be using in this course. Yes, yes, please. Yes, yeah, of course.
I know that took a course that has a lab, but it's not 1 credit hour. It was within the course by
Yeah.
itself. But the problem is that the doctor of the lecture was controlling the lab as well. So the doctor of the lab, which is Dr. Abdullah, the same doctor that we have now,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't. He was totally new with mobile application, and he couldn't handle all the things. Then we felt lost that we have to learn some things during the lecture,
you will kind of face something kind of similar. Let me explain it. Okay, in the course, I will do my ultimate best to try to explain things, demo things to you, and then you will go and apply it. Now, remember, this is a senior level course. There might be some things that you kind of need to pick up on your own. The main thing is that you try all the material will be given to you a priori, sometimes even some support videos prior to the class. So you can go through them, pick up as much as you can, so you are best prepared. So when you come, you will be able to follow better, you will be able to ask the right questions, and so on. So if you do some prior preparation, prior to the lecture, prior to the lab, you will benefit perfectly from it. So there could be potential of this problem you are kind of referring to, but I will be monitoring all the situation very, very closely with the lab. Basically, I contribute to the lab design, what's in the lab. I also follow how they are conducting the labs. So there is at least one weekly meeting with the lab instructors to make sure there are no gaps. If there are gaps, we identify gaps. The week following the lab, I will try to address those gaps, either through the lecture or through extra material or video or some kind of resource that can address those gaps. The main thing is that you work as you go. This is the main thing, because that helps all of us find the gaps and address them. If you delay it until exams or whatever, you cannot delay it here anyway, because you have to do the lab, and the lab is graded on the same day. Okay, so there is no delay. So if there is a gap, please highlight it, and we will do all of us do our best to address it. Okay. Honestly, this course is also like challenging even for us. Okay, because there's a lot of things, exciting things, very important things, and also new things. There are things that even myself will be learning as we go. Maybe I'll be 2-3 weeks, hopefully 2 weeks ahead of you. Okay, so not everything, like I will reuse everything from last offering. Every offering, there is something new, because this is a moving, like a moving area. And as I said, we want to learn web development, not the history of web development. This is basically the idea of this course. So please keep that communication between us. Keep the communication going through questions in the class, through office hours. We will also have like kind of a discussion board online. I will email you that shortly. So there are a lot of channels of communication that you let me know, let the lab instructor know. If there are any issues, we will do our best to address them. Okay? We might, for me, I'm hoping to, for your own benefit, I'm really hoping to finish this scope. So you get, by the end of the course, you have enough skills to really do some realistic professional development. But it's better for us, if needed, I hope we will not need, to cut some things and get everybody to understand and build their skills rather than having a larger scope. Okay, so it's very, very important to keep that communication, and we can kind of adjust the speed or the depth or the breadth or the coverage to make sure everybody is following. But please also put the effort. Okay. All right, so that's it. These are the tools. So I already sent you an email. Please go through it. It's very, very important email. I will just try to see if I can open it and show it to you again, what you need to do, and we take it from there. Okay, so here. Okay, so now, first thing is the major tool we'll be using in this course is called, it's a bit blurred, it's called WebStorm. So this tool, it's commercial tool, but it's free for student use. For academic use, it's free. All you do, you go through this email. I'm just trying to explain it. Please try to do so before the lab, before the next lab. So you download the software, the trial version, you install it, and then go to this URL and register. You register as a student using your QU email. It must be QU email. And then using that registration, you go back to the software and you put the username and password on the software, and it will allow you to use it. Okay? So that is I will show you how it looks like. This is the WebStorm. Now, the second thing we will be heavily using is GitHub. Any of you have used it? Okay, those of you who didn't use it, you will learn it in this course. Very, very important collaboration tool. Professional developers out there, when they are building a software, especially large scale, definitely they don't share code by emails or through Dropbox. They use some kind of repository where they basically collaborate in developing the solution. So GitHub is one of the famous repositories and tools to collaboratively build software solutions. So we will be using it to deliver the content of the course, and also for you to do your labs, to do your projects, and everything. So to do so, you need to go to this github.com and create an account. If you already have an account, please, you need to rename that account to follow this convention. Your username must be like this: student, the first name, dash, the login, the username, your QU username, like something like this: Fatima and FE, and whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you will let me know. You need to let me know this username by going through this little form where you will enter your first name, your last name, and your GitHub account. Now, once you do this, I will create for you a private repository. So let me try to explain this a little bit more. So here is our so the whole course will be managed in this GitHub organization. So this is how, even in real life, how organizations are using GitHub. So you have an organization like QU, or let's say QNB, or whatever organization. Within an organization, you have a lot of projects going on. Okay, no problem. Okay, each project or each application will have its repository. So in an organization, you have many repositories. Let's say QU, it's developing a lot of applications. You might have one repository for Blackboard, one for Banner, one for finance application, one for HR. Okay, so in our case, this is our organization, which is forgot many things today. Okay, this is the URL of our organization. You will see this CMPS 356 content. In here, you will find the slides, the examples, the labs, and everything. Also, later on, when you go to this URL, you will also see a repository only for you. No one else will see it except the instructors and you. So you will put there your lab, everything. Later on, when you start your project, you will create also a repository for your group. So those of you not familiar with this, don't worry too much. In the first lab, you will see this. But please try to go through the steps I mentioned in the email. Try to complete them before the lab so I can create for you your private repository. Okay? One of the outcomes of this course, you will learn how to use GitHub, which is very, very popular tool and development collaboration tools. We will discover its features as we move forward. All right, so we'll use GitHub, we will use Node.js, we will use other tools. We will use many tools that I will tell you to install them, and you get familiar with them as we move forward. For now, The minimum you need to have, WebStorm and GitHub. And follow the instructions in the email I have sent you. Please finish them before the lab so you can benefit. So now in terms of communication, everything is on GitHub. The things that we provide as instructors, the things that you will give back to us as labs or projects or whatever. And everything will be here. And I will show you there is a very simple GitHub application that you can install, and you can keep synchronizing to get the latest pieces that I post. Now, communication will be by email. You will get email similar to the email I already sent you. Okay? Okay, attendance is very important. I already explained this. Start your assignment early. If there is a project or assignment, please start early. That's the only way to really make it. Because if you have issues or gaps, or you are not being able to do it, or there's a problem, I will learn those problems from you as we go, and we can come to class or lab and address them. If you start late, then there's no time to catch up. There is no time for me to help you. So you need to start early. Okay, this is a senior level course. You also need to drive the learning on your own as well. There's a lot of things you will do independently, and don't expect us to really fix your code. And we will guide you, help you, but you have to build those skills of debugging and fixing your code as you move forward. No free riding allowed. Every student must contribute to the project. This is a must. And GitHub makes it very easy. We will know who pushes what, who changed what, who contributed what. If there is a problem, particular team member is not contributing, don't tell us at the end. We can't do much about it. Tell us at the beginning. We will talk to that student. If they are not collaborating, they have to do the project on their own. It's simple as that. Okay? So there is no free riding. Everybody must contribute. And it will show up. If a student did not do well in the midterm or final, means they have not contributed to the project. Because project, midterm or final, it's like very, very small version of the project. Very small version. If you can do the project, midterm and final is guaranteed. You can do excellent in those. Okay. Here, don't copy from others. You can use the example. You can start from the examples I provide. You can reuse some of the code there, no problem. But don't use external code, especially without acknowledgement. If you find some code that you need to use, talk to your instructor, talk to your lab instructor. But don't just use it, especially without acknowledging, without saying, I got this from that or that place. Initially, you should not use any external code, but if you use, acknowledge it and also get some permission from me or from the lab instructors. Emails, because I get so many emails, especially as coordinator, if you can please just, a little bug here, just put the course code in the title. Will be easier to recognize such emails. Here, this is guaranteed to get answers on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. The other days are best effort. This is guaranteed, and the other ones, the remaining days, Mondays and Wednesdays, is best effort. Okay, so start thinking about your project group. It will be 3 students per group. Install the software and register in GitHub, as I mentioned in my email. And then prepare if you have any questions. Whenever I post something, try to go through them and prepare your questions. We can discuss them in class, after class, office hours, and so on. Okay, any questions so far? It's clear? Any concerns? Okay. No quizzes, nothing. It's just basically, this is a practical course. All you need, understand and apply in the lab every week. That's basically your quiz, everything. So we basically try to make the assessment kind of reasonable as much as we could. You go to the lab in all cases. Sometimes some students, they just don't benefit from the lab. So we try to put this model in a way that you go to the lab and you take it very seriously as an opportunity to deliver. Yes, please. Yeah.
Please, like, before the lab, before the week of the lab, can the doctor of the lab send us an email that the lab will be concerning this topic and this topic?
Okay, yes.
To prepare, okay.
Yeah, definitely,
Not
yes.
2 hours before the lab and not 1 day before the lab, during the weekend if possible.
Yeah, yeah, of course. First of all, in the lab from this week, you will get something similar to this. It might not make too much sense at this stage. We have a plan, what is for each week. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, so you will have those. Now, whether we will make the lab available too early or not, I'll have to discuss it with the administrator, not the lab itself.
Only the topic of the lab.
Yeah, no, that will be very clear from week 1. You will have very clear what is in each lab every week. Now, hopefully things will go as planned, but things can maybe slow down a bit. But that plan will be updated and communicated to you. Okay. Yes, very good points. Yes, any other concerns, issues? Okay, assessment reasonable? Okay, all right. So now, yes, three maximum. Okay. So far we are 19, which means maybe one team will end up with 2, but not more than 3. Okay. So now 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes. I will just introduce very, very, very quickly the first topic of the course, which is HTML. Now, when you visit web pages, and that's what we do, we spend most of our day on the web. So the pages you see are written in which language? In HTML. Okay? So what is HTML? Fortunately, I didn't bring my marker. Sorry? Hypertext markup language. What do we use it for? To make the view. Okay, yes. What do we mean when you say make the view? The interface, yes. Very good. Okay. Now, the position and the way it looks, the look and feel is not HTML. It's CSS. So HTML is used to define the structure of the page. Like, for example, here is a title, here is a paragraph, here is a table, here is a form. So what we use HTML for is to define the structure of the page, not the formatting. Although HTML has some tags to actually define the formatting, we should never use them. Okay? We use HTML to define the structure. And then we use CSS to define basically the formatting of the page. And then there is a third technology on the client side, which is JavaScript. What do we use JavaScript for on the client side? Such as? Yeah, such as? An example of functionality that could... Okay, for example, animation. Some animation when you hover, when your mouse is over a text, it becomes like enlarged, or the background color of it change. So that dynamic change of the page is using JavaScript. Sorry? Maybe some calculations, yes. For example, you say, this is my date of birth. It can calculate the age, as an example. Or let's say you are filling a form. Remember forms? We fill so many of them. Sometimes you put some mistakes, and then it asks you to validate. Okay? You say, ask you for date of birth, and you say the 15th of February 2017. Say, oh, sorry, you can't do that. It validates the data that you provide. Okay. Sometimes if you see some websites, you choose the country, and then the system will go and fetch the cities or the states of that country. That is JavaScript. So you see here already 3 technologies you need to learn. You cannot say I can survive with HTML or just CSS is enough for me or just JavaScript is enough for me. You have to use the 3 of them. This is no, that is coming. That is the server side. On the server side, the data could come from file. It could be computed. There is no database. It could come from database. Okay, that's another story. So you can see here there are too many pieces. There is the client side and there is the server side. For example, getting the states of a particular country. Those states, yes, they will come from the server side. Now, how we will get them from the server side? It could be computed. It could be from files. It could be from another system. It could be from a database. Okay? So you can already see there are at least 2 major stories. There is the client-side story, and there is the server-side story. Now, the client side, the major technologies on the client side are 3. 3 technologies. What are these? HTML is used for what? Define the structure of the page. CSS, the formatting, and JavaScript. Client-side functionalities such as form validation, such as animation, such as some simple computations. Okay. So these are the 3 technologies as I explained. Now, HTML is a markup language. It's not a programming language. You cannot do some functionality. You cannot do computation. It's a markup. Markup is something similar. You know that marker, yellow and green, and the yellow is the most famous, isn't it? Those markers. So you're reading things, and things that you kind of want to remember or you want to go back to. What you do to them? You might highlight them. Okay? So you kind of mark them up. Or you say, oh, by the way, you might say this is the key idea of this article. You might highlight it and put little tag or little comment there. So that's the idea of HTML. So here is how, very quickly, here is how it looks like, an HTML page, how it looks like. So first of all, there are two parts in HTML page. There is the head, and there is the body of the page. So in the head, you might see the title, you might see some metadata, some data about the page. And on the body, you see the actual content that the user will see in the browser. Okay, so each piece of data on the page, you say, oh, by the way, this is a header. This is a subheader. This is a sub-subheader. This is a paragraph. This is a paragraph. So each piece of the text, you kind of say, what is the role of this piece of content? Is it a header? Is it a paragraph? What is it? So you as developer, remember there are 2 types of people in the web here. There are designers. You are not designers. You will be web developers. So in web developers, HTML is huge. You can take a full course, a huge book on HTML. For us, we will do it in 1 week. But what you will need to learn, the major things you need to learn, those simple tags, paragraph, headers, then tables, how to create tables, and more importantly, how to create forms. You know those forms that you filled, so many of them? You will learn how to write such forms. And that's what you will do in the lab. The reason we are doing it in the lab, because we want the lecture to be ahead. So we pushed this to the lab. So from next time, we will start JavaScript. Okay? So all the best. Please make it to the lab and enjoy the course. If there are any questions, feel free to email me or talk to me. Yes, it's a nice backup. It is a highly recommended additional content to master the content better and to expand further. So the more you read and practice, the better. So I highly recommend it. Okay.